Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today.
Today we're going over the last part of the Book of the Watchers.
Yeah, we are. We are getting there. We are almost done. Well, not exactly almost done with the Book of Enoch, but we're getting there because many of these chapters are very, very short.
Well, to be fair, we're almost done. We're going to be done with the first book of the book.
Yeah, the
Enoch.
first part, yeah.
The first book of the book of First Enoch.
Yes.
The first Enoch book.
Yes.
Well, I didn't look over this introduction today, but now that I have, by opening the book,
yeah,
I have
the translation of the book. The first book of the first book of Enoch.
Yes. Now, last time we covered quite a few chapters.
We did, yeah.
Today we're going to 32.
36. That's
36.
Gonna be, yes, that's going to be the end of the Book of the Watchers. And before we hop into that, just a couple things. So first of all, I'm still fucking stoked about this audio setup. It's fantastic.
You better be.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out how it's going to work with guests exactly, because it is kind of weird. We were fiddling around with it yesterday.
We're having a thing where I believe the issue has been identified.
Yeah.
That it is indeed Lawrence's laptop's
It might be
audio
that, yeah.
port.
Yeah,
And that's hard.
Yeah, I'm thinking
that's what we've been using since our guest computer broke.
Yeah.
Spooky.
I'm thinking we could also get another one of those splitters that we were using before, just not an old one like you had.
I mean, I'm still thinking that when we
Sure.
took that off, we were still having similar
Yeah,
issues.
it was way
And
less
I
though.
did find a workaround.
Or, hey,
We did
just
manage-
we just use it for Google Hangouts, so why can't we use any other laptop?
That's right.
Yeah.
There is no reason that we couldn't use Ruben's laptop, which I do believe he just purchased.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
or
you?
your laptop. I
My
mean,
laptops are broken.
oh, really?
I have run through a problem of my computers dying on a clock like every 4 years when I buy them. That's their lifespan, man.
That's horrible.
I
That's
am
sad.
aware. But the good news is their hard drives usually aren't the problem. If they aren't my computer, that's not the case for some reason. So like Dan, our friend, we can't say which one. Dan's a very generic name, so I hope that doesn't matter. Gave us a computer to use for art and whatever, and its hard drive is fried.
Yeah.
That's what we were using to
Completely
stream
fried.
before, yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad. So sad.
Well, anyway, why don't I read this part of the introduction?
Yeah. Also, so after this book, we're going to be going over the parables of Enoch, or the similitudes of Enoch, and we have added a commentary on that by the same guys that wrote this translation.
So
by
I
the way,
take it that these are quite short.
yeah, these are
Okay, and
very
that
short.
These things will help fill
Yes.
that in.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And the commentary, we have added that to the wish list.
Yes, please purchase us a commentary to read to you.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's there. Links in the description. Let's hop right into the
But
Book of the
this
Watchers.
introduction,
Yeah,
chapters 20 through 32, we already went over 20 and 21.
yeah.
Describe a second journey, which begins where the first one left off and carries Enoch across the face of the earth to its eastern reaches. Here, in addition to the places described in the previous journey, Enoch recounts his visions of the places of eschatological significance for humanity, both the righteous chosen and the sinners, the place of the dead, the mountain of God, and Jerusalem, as well as primordial Eden. As in the previous journey, the literary form of the segments of this journey includes these elements: Enoch's progress to a new place, his vision, his question, and interpretation by the accompanying angel. The account of Enoch's journey to the places of the luminaries, chapters 33 through 36, briefly summarizes materials in chapters 72 through 82. The Book of the Watchers probably took its present form by the mid or late 3rd century BCE. That is their conclusion.
Yep. We actually have the same thing here. That the Book of the Watchers was 3rd century BC or earlier. All right, so I think we can probably hop into the reading then.
There's nothing you want to go over in Erdman's first?
No, nothing really too important in Airman's for the introduction, at least.
All right. Then I'll start chapter 22, The Mountain of the Dead. From there I traveled to another place, and he showed me to the west a great and high mountain of hard rock, and there were four hollow...
Hell yeah.
There were four hollow places in it, deep and very smooth. 3 of them were dark, and 1 illuminated, and a fountain of water was in the middle of it. And I said, how smooth are these hollows, and altogether deep and dark to view? Then Raphael answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, these hollow places are intended that the spirits of the souls of the dead might be gathered into them. For this very purpose they were created, that here the souls of all human beings should be gathered. And look, these are the pits for the place of their confinement.
Yeah, so this is Sheol.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
with
I
a
was saying
different,
This is more vivid, creation than any other reference to Sheol that I've heard.
Yeah, this is definitely a more vivid description. And these are describing 4 levels, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is obviously before somebody wrote Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, way before.
And-
Before Dante wrote
Yeah.
Inferno.
And yeah.
Man.
And
Somebody wrote that. It was Dante. I'm so dumb. It's called Dante's Inferno. I get that mixed up because of Devil May Cry lore.
Yeah, there's a video game called Dante's Inferno.
And that also screws with my lore. And I know more about that video game than I actually... And the movies and than I do about the book. I did... It's been forever ago since I read that
Anyways, thus they were made until the day on which they will be judged, and until the time of the day of the end of the great judgment that will be exacted from them. So this image of Sheol, there are 4 pits,
yes.
a fountain in the middle.
Yes.
One of the pits is luminous, the rest are dark.
Yeah.
And the souls just get thrown in there until the day of judgment.
Yes, that is where the souls wait for judgment.
Does this have any parallels to the Greek ideas of the afterlife? I'm feeling a Tartarus
Well,
vibe.
yeah, definitely it's pretty close because this is around the time of Hellenization.
Okay. I wonder if it'll tell more. Let's keep going.
Yes. There I saw the spirit of a dead man making suit, and his lamentation went up to heaven and cried and made suit. Then I asked Raphael, the watcher and the Holy One. It has a footnote. It says, Ethiopian angel, suggesting that elsewhere in this section where there are no Aramaic counterparts, holy angel may also have translated to Aramaic watchers and holy ones.
Okay.
Then I asked Raphael, the watcher and the Holy One who was with me, and said to him, this spirit that makes suit, whose is it, that thus his lamentation goes up and makes suit unto heaven? And he answered to me and said, this is the spirit that went forth from Abel, whom Cain his brother murdered. And Abel makes accusation against him until his posterity perishes from the face of the earth, and his posterity is obliterated from the posterity of men.
Yeah, so here's a... So yeah, this is Abel.
Yes,
and
and for posterity, it means literally seed.
Okay. So this is actually kind of interesting because we were obviously talking earlier in this book when the Watchers came down and gave these esoteric revelations to people. Like that was, an origin of evil, but it wasn't the origin of evil because right now they are acknowledging that there's evil beforehand. So here's a little note here that I have from Erdman's. The Enochic authors were fully aware of the presence of evil in the world before the fall of the Watchers. Abel's murder is mentioned here. There's a reference to Adam and Eve's sin even later. And we have also learned of an astral an astral rebellion taking place in primeval times, and that was in 1815. The Watcher's sin is therefore not offered in the Book of the Watchers as an explanation for the origin of evil, as has sometimes been claimed, but simply as the most devastating eruption.
Yeah. And Abel here, I don't know. I get a kind of Sisyphus vibe from him.
I mean, yeah, he's crying out.
Yeah, like that's his fate until judgment.
Yeah.
Is just to sit there and
Lament.
Yeah. Until the day of judgment. So that sucks.
Yeah.
Then I asked about all the hollow places, why they were separated one from the other.
Yeah, so now we're talking about the levels. And they're not really levels, they're just sections for each person.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or not each person, each being.
Yeah.
Type of being.
There's 4 holes, one of them is luminous.
Yeah.
Okay. And he answered me and said, these 3 were made that the spirits of the dead might be separated, and this has been separated for the spirits of the righteous, where the bright fountain of water is. And this has been created for the spirits of the sinners, when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their life. Here their spirits are separated for this great torment, until the great day of judgment, of scourges and tortures of the cursed forever, that there might be a recompense for their spirits. There he will bind them forever.
Yeah, so there's a good amount of stuff to talk about here. So what's important to note is that this is probably the first clear moral, like this is the first clear reference to the dead being separated by like morals in Sheol.
Sheol's been pretty. This is where you go when you die indistinct.
Yeah,
It's been vague.
Very.
Yeah. So the first cave contains a bright fountain of waters and is reserved for the righteous. The second is for those sinners who escape all retribution in their earthly life and who die and are buried. And who now suffer here in anticipation of the everlasting torments they will receive at the last judgment. What verse are you at?
I'm at verse 12.
Okay.
I've only covered 2 of them so far.
Yeah, that's the first 2.
Okay, so let me go on then. And this has been separated for the spirits of them that make suit, who make disclosure about the destruction, when they were murdered in the days of the sinners.
Yeah, so the third cavern holds those spirits who have never had their case heard and await judgment concerning wrongful death.
So that's limbo, maybe.
Or
if not limbo.
I mean, no, it's not limbo. I mean, they're
neutral dead.
Kinda, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
They're waiting for the day of judgment where they will be like officially heard out, I guess, because God's not listening in Sheol.
What you have to do to fall into that category?
Die wrongfully. Wrongful death.
Oh, so like getting hit by a horse before your prime and you never really did good or bad.
I guess.
Maybe. Who knows?
And then there's the last one.
Getting hit by
which
a
is
horse.
more relevant to us.
Yeah.
And this was created for the spirits of the people who will not be pious, but sinners who are godless. And they were companions with the lawless. And their spirits will not be punished on the day of judgment, nor will they be raised from here. Then I blessed the Lord of glory and said, blessed is the judgment of righteousness, and blessed are you, O Lord of majesty and righteousness, who are Lord of eternity.
Hold on. There was no description of how they lived in that area of Sheol at all.
Nope, they just
said they don't leave.
They don't get punished. They don't raise from there.
They're just separated.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No, not really.
Okay, well, let's look forward to that.
When I was reading through that, I thought very much this sounds a lot like annihilationism without being annihilationist. Like, because the soul still exists, but it's just wholly separated from any heaven or hell or anything like that. It's
and it
just
doesn't even matter
dead.
if there's a day of judgment, apparently, for them.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
And the day of judgment, if I'm interpreting this correctly, it's referencing the judgment of the watchers.
It's referencing the judgment of
angels.
everyone.
Are these
Right,
watchers
but
a group
Watchers
of
are
angels?
watchers are angels.
But the
Okay.
date was set based off of the punishment of the Watchers previously, right? And then at the end of their
60
sentencing,
generations.
they reach judgment. So is their judgment to be taken as
The day of judgment.
the day of judgment?
I guess those would line up.
I think so.
So there is some stuff on that Erdman's has on this fourth one. So apparently the fourth cavern holds utterly depraved individuals who are like the giants themselves, the lawless ones. But we know that the demonic spirits of the giants run free until the close of the age, while these equally wicked humans are punished even now. Lest this seem unfair, we are told that these human spirits actually suffer less in the long run. Come the day of judgment, they will not receive any further punishment, but will remain in Sheol. In this case, denial of resurrection is a blessing, since they would surely be raised only to be thrown into flaming pits with the demons. So this is like if you're unaware of what you're doing is sinning, then this is where you go.
Right. So why would anyone ever tell anyone else about their religion?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, there's that whole story about the Eskimo, right?
It almost sounds
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
breaking the cycle or something. It's bizarre.
Well, so I'm going to go into 23, and it's pretty short. Then I'm going to hand it off to you.
Sure.
And I'll take Eerdman's. Do you have things underlined and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is chapter 23, The Fire of the West. And from there I traveled to another place, to the west of the ends of the earth. And I saw a fire that ran and did not rest or quit its course day and night, but continued.
Yeah, so if you remember the fiery river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked and said, what is this that has no rest? Then Reuel answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, this course of fire is the fire of the west, which pursues, there's a footnote on pursues, it's corrupt. Okay, it may be corrupt or take vengeance on, but pursues.
Okay.
All the luminaries of heaven. The Ethiopic adds a clause here that indicates Enoch's movement to a new place, but the Greek does not. And he showed me the mountains of fire that burned day and night.
And those were the 7 mountains that we discussed before, with the middle one being the throne of God.
Yeah. So this is like the source of the light that the luminaries of heaven.
I'm not even
have?
sure.
What does Eerdman say about this?
Not really that much. Just says that, it's a reference to the fiery river and the 7 mountains of chapter 17-18.
Oof. Tough.
The 7 mountains, do you think that they were just talking about demons and stuff? That doesn't have to do with the hellscape part of Sheol, does it?
No, this is something else now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, let
Maybe
me
the heavens. Never mind.
hand this off to you because that was the end of that chapter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of stuff underlined there. Anyways, that was chapter 23, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's hop into chapter 24.
Yes.
If you guys are enjoying the stream, drop a like. That'd be nice.
So before we go into chapter 24, it says outright that many of the elements here are taken from Ezekiel 28:13 through 14. So
Yeah.
I am going.
Lots of imagery.
I'm going to, you know what? Grab a different Bible.
Okay. Anyways, so you under there. Okay. And he showed me mountains of fire that burned day and night. And this is the mountain of God and the tree of life. And I proceeded beyond them, and I saw 7 glorious mountains, all differing, each from the other, whose stones were precious in beauty. And all the mountains were precious and glorious and beautiful in appearance. 3 to the east were firmly set, one on the other, and 3 to the south, one on the other, and deep and rugged ravines, one not approaching the other. The 7th mountain was in the middle, and it rose above them in the height, like the seat of a throne, and fragrant trees encircled it. Among them was a tree such as I had never smelled, and among them was no other like it. It had a fragrance sweeter smelling than all spices, and its leaves and its blossom and the tree never wither. Its fruit is beautiful, like dates of the palm tree. So I think there might be something about the ravine, or is that later? Do I have something underlined in Erdmann's for that?
So, it goes into things in chapter 25.
Okay, so that's a little bit later. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get to it later then.
We'll get to that, but I do want to point out here that this section in Ezekiel that he's talking about,
Yeah.
I'm going to just read this off. Thou wast in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the carnelian, the topaz, and the emerald, the beryl, and the onyx, and the jasper, and the sapphire, the carbuncle, and the smaragd, and gold. The workmanship of thy settings and of thy sockets was in thee in the day that thou wast created. They were prepared. Thou wast the far-covering cherub, and I set thee so that thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of stones of fire. And that's the section that...
On the imagery, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I said, how beautiful is this tree and fragrant, and its leaves are lovely, and its blossoms are lovely to look at. Then Michael answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me and was their leader. And he said to me, Enoch, why do you inquire, and why do you marvel about the fragrance of this tree, and why do you wish to learn the truth? So, like, he's about to repeat the sin of Adam and Eve.
Yes, and I should note that we are now in Enoch chapter 25.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, I'll move it. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I answered him, I, Enoch, and said, concerning all things I wish to know, but especially concerning this tree. So he really wants to know about this tree.
Right, and Erdmann says the tree is apparently the tree of life. It is presently off limits, but in the future it will be transplanted to the house of the Lord, and the chosen one will be permitted to eat from it and even to enter the holy place, and they will live long and happy lives.
Yeah.
Huh. Wait, weren't there 2 trees?
Yeah. We're going to talk about the other one in a bit. Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry for foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we humans already have the knowledge of good and evil from the first tree, so all they need is to eat from the tree of life and become like
the
Elohim.
gods. Yeah.
Yes, like a god.
So he really wants to know about this tree.
Yes.
And he answered me and said, this high mountain that you saw, whose peak is like the throne of God, is the seat where the great Holy One, the Lord of glory, the King of eternity, will sit when he descends to visit the earth in goodness. And as for the fragrant tree, no flesh has the right to touch it until the great judgment, in which there will be vengeance on all and a consummation forever. Then it will be given to the righteous and the pious, and its fruit will be the food for the chosen. This is obviously metaphorical, by the way. And it will be transplanted to the holy place by the house of God, the King of eternity. So this tree is going to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Or to a specific...
Erdmann says, this passage recalls the blessed post-diluvian existence promised in 1017 through 11:2. But here that worldwide scene is concentrated and located in a new Garden of Eden, which is also God's mountain throne and his holy house.
Yep.
Are they distinctly different then? Different Eden.
Well, in the future, there will be one in the same.
Yeah. In the future.
But gods, so whatever.
Then they will rejoice greatly and be glad, and they will enter into the sanctuary. Its fragrances will be in their bones, and they will live a long life on the earth, such as your fathers lived also in their days. So, like, the long lives of
The 900-year-old.
yeah,
Yeah.
900, 800, whatever. And torments and plagues and suffering will not touch them. Then I blessed the God of glory, the King of eternity, who has prepared such things for people who are righteous and has created them and promised to give them to them.
So Enoch blesses God every time he gets revealed new information.
Yes.
Except about the fires of the west. He didn't bless God then.
No.
No, those
No,
were
he didn't.
terrifying, apparently.
So do I have stuff written down on that? I think I might. Or is it waiting for chapter 26?
Most of it's chapter 26.
Okay, fair enough.
Why don't we switch off?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to read the next 2 chapters. I guess they're pretty short.
Okay.
Yeah. And from there I proceeded to the center of the earth, and I saw a blessed place, where there were trees that had branches that abide and sprout. And there I saw a holy mountain. From beneath the mountain water came from the east, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw to the east another mountain higher than it, and between them a deep valley that had no breadth, and through it water was flowing beneath the mountain. And to the west of this another mountain, lower than it, and not rising very high, and a deep and dry valley beneath it.
So, on that deep and dry valley, real quick.
Yeah.
It says here in Erdman's chapters 26 and 27 give a brief but accurate description of the mountains of Zion
Are we on chapter 26?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, you guys got to tell me.
and the valley of Hinnom, a ravine deep and dry.
Yes,
As
and-
Enoch marvels at these things, and so on, so on, so on, it says, although there is a vague hint in Isaiah 66:24, this is the first clear identification in Jewish literature of the valley of Hinnom, or Gehenna in Greek, as the eternal destination of the wicked, which we're going to get into.
Yes, and if you remember this, the valley of Ben Hinnom, Gehenna, was the place where I forget which king did it, but he burned or a couple kings did it actually. They burnt their sons there. They sacrificed their children there.
Which you're not supposed to do.
No, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sin. Yeah, so anyways, a deep and dry valley beneath it, between them, and another deep and dry valley at the apex of the 3 mountains, and all the valleys were deep of hard rock, and no tree was planted on them. And I marveled at the mountain, and I marveled at the valley. I marveled exceedingly. And now we're on chapter 27. Yeah, I told you, these are very short. Then I said, why is this land blessed and all filled with trees, but this valley is cursed? Then Sariel, and here's a note here, the Greek Ethiopian apparently reads Uriel. But according to this translation, Sariel answered, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, this cursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here will be gathered all the cursed, who utter with their mouth an improper word against the Lord, and speak hard things against his glory. That's us. Yeah. Here they will be gathered, and here will be their habitation. At the last times, in the days of righteous judgment, in the presence of the righteous for all time. Here the godless will bless the Lord of glory, the King of eternity. Every knee shall bow, kind of thing. In the days of their judgment, they will bless in mercy, in accordance with how he has apportioned to them. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and his glory I made known and praised magnificently. So he just hears about these guys that don't praise the Lord, and he decides to praise the Lord.
Oh, wow.
Praise the
Just
Lord.
like
Good idea.
people who run into atheists, they go, oh, I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
All right, well, we can hop right into chapter 28, and I'm going to hand it back over to you. If you guys are enjoying the stream, drop a like. It really helps us out.
All right. There's a reference to Ezekiel in there. I have it open to it.
Sweet. And let's see, we're starting chapter 28, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You wanted to reference this at some point.
No, a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just tell me when.
Okay.
To the paradise of righteousness. The textual situation in these chapters is especially complex due to a plethora of sometimes obscure proper names and the technical nature of the subject matter and the disagreements among Greek, Ethiopic, and the two Aramaic manuscripts. Okay. 28. And from there I went to the midst of the mountain range of the desert, and I saw it desolate, and it alone was full of trees and plants. Water was pouring forth from above, flowing like a copious watercourse. Approximately to the northwest, it brought water and also dew from all around. From there I went to another place in the desert, and I departed to the east of this mountain range. I saw trees of the field breathing fragrances of frankincense and myrrh, and their trees were like nut trees. That's neat. Frankincense and myrrh trees.
Yeah.
I think, did you guys like that smell?
It was all right, yeah.
I know that sometimes people associate it with like a church smell,
Yeah.
but I thought it smelled pretty good, actually. It's not bad
It
inside
wasn't bad.
at all.
Beyond these, I departed far to the east, and I saw another vast place, valleys of water, in which were aromatic cane-like reeds. On the banks of these valleys I saw the fragrant cinnamon. Beyond these valleys I departed to the east, and I saw other mountains, and also on them I saw trees from which flowed the nectar called storax and galbanum.
Storax.
Yeah, these are some new things. Is there any context to what that could be?
No.
No,
Oh, lost to history. Sounds cool, though.
maybe. Hey, viewers, if any of you know what storax or galbanum is, please comment it.
They're nectar, apparently.
Probably.
Some kind of good smelling stuff.
Yeah. Beyond these mountains, I was shown another mountain, and on it were aloe trees. All the trees were full of...
Aloe?
It's just dots.
Oh, it's a break in the text.
Yeah. And it was like the bark of the almond tree. When they grind this bark, it is sweeter than any perfume. This is actually, we're well into the 30s now. These chapters have been so short.
You didn't even say anything.
I didn't even notice because each of them are like 2 verses.
Actually, if you're into the 30s, let's talk a little bit about
what are we at, 30?
We are at 32.
Oh,
Wow.
Jeez, man, we jumped so far.
Yeah, that jumped quick.
Oh.
All right, but so I guess let's take it back a bit here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the tree vision. So when he was initially taken away, so
Now, hold on. Just for reference with the viewers, when he goes to see this desolate mountain range with trees and plants, that's 28. In 29, he goes to the different mountain range with frankincense and myrrh. In 30, he goes to the east and sees the cinnamon fragrances.
sure.
And 31, he goes to the east again and sees the storax and galbanum.
Okay.
And that's why it was so brief. They were literally statements, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So anyways, with the tree stuff, so Enoch is taken away, this time southeast. He sees a rushing watercourse, apparently connecting Zion with a lush oasis in the Judean desert. That's in 28. These details remove any doubt that the whole scene of chapters 25 to 28 is inspired by Ezekiel 47, with its eschatological vision of a new Jerusalem and a river flowing out of it to the southeast, flanked by vivifying trees and transforming the Dead Sea area. Enoch has modified its source in several ways. 1. The many trees of Ezekiel 47:12 are reduced to a single tree. 2. This tree is clearly the tree of life. 3. It is located now at the holy place instead of outside the city, as in Ezekiel. 4. Its fruit is promised for the elect alone. And 5. Their entrance into that holy place is explicitly mentioned. The author of the book of Revelation also draws heavily on 47. Yeah, but here's a little bit from chapter 47. At least let's just cover 47:12 because it's a whole chapter. Right. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow every tree for food, whose leaf shall not wither, neither shall the fruit thereof fail. It shall bring forth new fruit every month, because the waters thereof issue out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for food, and the leaf thereof for healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like aloe.
Yeah.
Like aloe.
Yeah.
And, of course, when you do that, you got to crush it up, and, they do reference grinding bark in 31:2.
Yes, but
and actually,
was that the same verse as cinnamon, or was that after aloe?
That's after aloe. I think that was before cinnamon. Or after cinnamon, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
That the part about grinding bark is at the very end of 31.
Okay.
And which one's it closer to? Cinnamon or aloe?
Cinnamon, I think.
It's closer to cinnamon.
Okay, so cinnamon is bark.
Right.
So here's a little bit about the incense that we were just reading about. Many of these aromatics.
Oh no, it's closer to aloe.
Oh,
okay.
Oh man, then that changes everything. Never mind. Redact.
Yeah.
Many of these aromatics are necessary ingredients in the sacred incense. If we remember the stuff from Exodus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go into the holy anointing oil.
Yeah. So raising the possibility that the intense interest in Jerusalem in the preceding chapters continues here in the form of priestly concern about the temple supplies.
All right. Well, why don't I get into chapter 32? Beyond these mountains, approximately to their northeastern side, I saw other mountains filled with choice nard and spur and cardamom and pepper. From there, I proceeded to
Lots of nice spices.
Yeah.
Some of those were dyes, I think. Or at least they're both. They're spice or dye.
Okay.
Cardamom for sure is a yellow.
From there, I proceeded to the east of all these mountains, far from them to the east of the earth. And I passed over the Red Sea and departed far from it. And I crossed over the darkness, far from it. So the Red Sea is to the east of where Enoch presumably was.
What verse is that?
It's at verse 31:2.
31.
Or 32:2.
Okay. Read the next one. I just want to make sure.
I passed by the paradise of righteousness, and I saw from afar trees more plentiful and larger than these trees, differing from those, very large and beautiful and glorious and magnificent, and the tree of wisdom, whose fruit the holy ones eat and learn great wisdom.
All right, so here's a little bit about that. So finally, Enoch crosses the Erythraean Sea. This is the Persian Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
And arrives at the paradise of righteousness. That's in 32:3, where again he sees magnificent tree, beautiful, fruitful, and fragrant. This time he is able to identify it, the tree of knowledge, the fruit of which they eat and know great wisdom.
Yes.
So yeah, here's that second tree.
That tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves like those of the carob, and its fruit like the clusters of the vine. Very cheerful, and its fragrance penetrates far beyond the tree. So this is like grapes, kind of, is the fruit of knowledge?
I don't think so.
No.
It says like the clusters of the vine. Now, grapes grow in clusters on vines.
There's a lot of fruit that may or may not be around anymore. And the foods that we have today are so bred by humans that, it could be grapes, but they wouldn't be like a grape. Maybe they're like a fig.
How do olives grow?
Olives grow in bunches too, don't they, Ruben?
Because I know that I know that.
think
Okay,
so.
so vineyards were obviously really big in Israel.
Yeah.
But so were olive
Yes.
trees.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's often used like an olive tree analogy.
IoT.
Yes, hello OT. But she just said hi to
To
Chris.
me.
Yeah,
Just me. That's no one's done
that's
that
new.
yet.
Yeah.
That is new. Thank you.
Weird.
Agreed.
So it could be grapes or it could be an olive tree.
Mm-hmm. It describes its leaves like those of the carob.
Yeah, but I don't know what that is.
Pull out your phone. CAROB.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we can get
Dates grow on palms. I didn't mean it like that. I mean that it could have been more dried out grape.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I
fir-
get things wrong all the time. Don't listen to me. I'm more comedic relief.
fir trees are pretty tall. So it's a tall tree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Its leaves are like those of the carob. I don't know what that looks like.
Oh, what the hell is this? This looks so weird. Oh. Okay, I think I've
Got
seen
some
these
good
before.
comments here.
Yeah. I can't really describe how this looks, but it has like those, it looks like those really long, it looks like really long dried out pea pods.
Oh, yeah, I've seen these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can turn
Chris
up the
camera.
I'm trying.
I can turn up the brightness, but also you have to remember this is a tree, so it'll get green screened.
Oh.
I was wondering what was happening. It was still
Yeah.
coming through, but
It can get green screened
it
probably.
looks so weird.
Yeah, I'm sure it
It's
looks
actually
really
kinda
weird.
funny. Here,
Yeah,
try that again
Yeah.
if you'd like.
yeah, it's so weird, especially with the green screen
There you go. Got it
because
up.
it's a tree.
So Justin McClure says, carob tree is a species of flowering evergreen tree in the pea family. Fabricae, its scientific name is Critonia siliqua L. It is widely grown for its edible pods and as an ornamental tree in gardens. The ripe dried pod is often ground to powder, which is used to replace cocoa powder.
I think I've seen those pods in
like-
like wreaths.
Aren't they kind of brownish?
Yeah.
And they're you
Yeah.
know there's like maybe 6 or 5 of them in the pod, and they're
Qu-
long.
quite a lot of them. Yeah,
I
So-
don't know what they're used for, but this must be them, huh?
yeah.
So I think that,
Cocoa powder
the fruit
substitution.
is like bunched together in pods that are on this really tall tree. And it smells really good.
Yeah, and you can smell
And
it
we're
for
still on 32, right?
yeah.
Please let me know.
Then I said, how beautiful is the tree and how pleasing in appearance. Then Gabriel.
This is the same thing he said about the other tree, and it was bad before, and he thought this is a good idea
Mhm.
to be concerned with how this one looks.
Yeah.
Come on, Enoch.
Okay, then it says, then Gabriel is a footnote. It says, Raphael in Greek and Ethiopic is amended to Gabriel, following the sequence in 27, and the consonants of Gabriel's responsibility there with the present station of Enoch's journey.
Makes sense.
The holy angel who was with me answered, this is the tree of wisdom, from which your father of old and your mother of old, who were before you, ate and learned wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven from the garden.
Yep.
So this is
Reference to the Garden of Eden.
So he's seen the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yes.
Is
Okay.
there a difference between that and the tree of wisdom, or is that just a different name?
Just different name.
Different name.
Gotcha.
Now we're in chapter 33. To the ends of the earth. And from there I proceeded to the ends of the earth. And I saw there great beasts, and they differed each from the other, and birds also differing in their appearance, and their beauty and their voices differed each from the other. To the east of these beasts I saw the ends of the earth, on which the heaven rests, and the gates of heaven open. I saw how the stars of heaven come forth, and I counted the gates from which they emerge. And I wrote down all their outlets, one by one, according to their number and their names, according to their conjunction and their position and their time and their months, as Uriel, the holy angel, Aramaic has one of the watchers, who was with me, showed me. He showed me and wrote down for me everything, and also he wrote down their names and their appointed times and their functions.
Yeah, so he's writing down absolutely everything about these things.
And are we going to get to hear about them? Because it sounds like, if we could use gates to get to different dimensions, that'd be useful.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of, a very short summary of what's going on. And we're going to get way more information about this when we cover the astronomical book.
Yes.
And when is that in our list?
It's going to be later.
Okay.
It's part of First Enoch, but it's going to be later.
Okay.
Like
I know we're skipping to something else.
We have the similitudes of Enoch after this.
Okay.
And then we have, what's after that? The Apocalypse of Weeks, or?
It's still Enoch, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's another one. I don't know.
It's
in
whatever.
there.
Yeah, I'll check.
But why wouldn't I get us through these last few chapters? They're really short.
Yeah.
And here we go.
So this is Enoch's journeys north, west, south, and east, a summer.
Oh, okay. And then, so it's the parables of Enoch, then the astronomical book, then the dream visions of Enoch, and then the epistle of Enoch.
Okay.
So we'll cover that in the next book.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from there I proceeded to the north at the ends of the earth, and there I saw the great and glorious wonders at the ends of the whole earth. There I saw the 3 gates of heaven open in heaven. From them the winds in the north emerge. When they blow, there is cold and hail and hoarfrost and snow and dew and rain. Through one gate they blow for good. And when they blow through 2 of the gates, they blow with violence, and there is affliction on the earth. So this is his explanation of where wind comes from.
And like the cold and the snow and storms.
From there I proceeded toward the west at the ends of the earth, and I saw there 3 gates of heaven open, as I saw in the east, the same number of gates and the same number of outlets. From there I proceeded toward the south. By the way, that last part that I read was chapter 35. This is chapter 36 now.
Yeah, we're just flying right through this. These are all like one sentence.
Yeah. From there I proceeded toward the south at the ends of the earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven open, and from there the south wind and dew and rain emerge. From there I proceeded toward the east at the ends of the earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven open toward the east, and above them small gates. Through each of these small gates pass the stars of heaven, and they proceed westward on the path that's shown to them, because, the earth is flat.
Yeah.
And doesn't rotate or anything.
Go east.
And when I saw, I blessed, and I shall always bless the Lord of glory, who has wrought great and glorious wonders, to show his great deeds to his angels and to the spirits of human beings. There's a footnote. All Ethiopic manuscripts add here so that they might glorify his work and all his deeds, which appears to be a doublet of the following 2 clauses, whose parallelism seems original. Show his great deeds to his angels and the spirits of human beings, so they might see the work of his might and glorify the deeds of his hand and bless him forever. And that is the end of the book.
The Book of the Watchers.
Of the Watchers.
Not the end of First Enoch, the end of the Book of the Watchers.
Yes.
So there is, a few things that we can close this off with.
Yes.
So obviously this last section is like a summary of his journeys.
Mm-hmm.
So the chapters describing Enoch's second cosmic journey have spread unseen mysteries and eschatological apparatus all over the cosmos. There are gates over here, there are gates over there, and then each gate shows you a whole bunch of crazy stuff.
Wonder what these gates look like.
Gates.
Man, they're all ethereal and shit.
I don't know.
Come on.
Okay, really bright gates.
Oh, geez.
Bright
Yeah.
gates. Luminous gates.
Yeah.
Very, very well. That's all we got.
The place of the dead is in the extreme west, which is really interesting. I don't think it's actually connected here, but in the Egyptian culture, the west side of the Nile was the place for the dead. And when you died, you were said to be going west.
Oh.
That's where like all the big tombs were built.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just very interesting. I don't
So that's
actually
why it
think
was called Journey to the East instead of Journey to the West.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily.
just it's comedic relief. Come
Yeah, and also the stars set.
Yes,
in the
I got
west.
that.
Yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily related to Egypt directly,
No.
but it's just an interesting thing.
I'm sure they have similar builds from their their lore.
Yeah, maybe.
Everybody builds from similar ideas, at least.
So anyways, the mountain throne of God and the tree of life are in the deep south, and even further south are the fiery pits and astral and angelic prisons. The future sites of the tree of life and of the last judgment are at Zion in the center of the earth, and the old paradise of Adam and Eve with its tree of knowledge is in the extreme east.
Now, that doesn't mean Zion is in the center of the earth because the earth is not round. It's flat on pillars. What they mean is that Zion is the center of the map.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if we're talking about the disc or whatever that it's supposed to be, then it would be Zion out from the center.
It's either a square or a rectangle. It has corners.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, how come the flat earthers don't talk about that?
Well, okay. Here's the thing about flat earthers.
Come on. We don't need to get down that rabbit hole. We
NASA
know.
CGI.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, everything's a fake and government conspiracies.
The moon
Yep.
is aliens.
The moon.
I've heard so much stuff about the moon. Like people are like, it's just another holographic light in the sky that they make. There was this one who believed that it was put there by the giants that are described here. It's
Like in Majora's Mask or something.
I guess,
where the
yeah,
giants put the moon back.
shit like that.
Well, what?
The thing is, he the way he described it was like, it's not really, I'm not 100% confident on this. I could be wrong, but that's just the best hypothesis. And I'm like, really? That's
Occam's razor. Giants put it there.
That's the best hypothesis you have?
Apparently.
Oh,
Is.
okay.
Well, why don't we get some final thoughts on the Book of the Watchers?
Yeah, the Book of the Watchers is kind of crazy.
I like all the readings so far for this podcast.
Yeah,
I should
and
say.
it's especially been a lot better since we got the new audio equipment. It sounds spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
maybe if we try a test after D&D tomorrow for Ruben's laptop,
yes.
that might be.
Yeah, can we do that, Ruben?
Yeah,
Sure.
sure, I
Oh,
guess.
Make sure to bring your laptop then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Or if not Sunday before the show.
Yeah, I don't want to have to deal with all that bullshit
Agreed.
right before the show.
However, all this could easily be fixed if we had a permanent setup for
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
That's again another some $1,000. Woohoo!
Yeah, woo.
Thanks for abandoning God, whoever that was.
Can you read that name? I can't.
Not at all.
Netanyahu something. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for you. Maybe
So-
this is when your country turns around.
So, Book of the Watchers.
Wow.
That was way more entertaining than most of the books of the Bible.
Oh yeah, definitely. There was
100%.
a lot of really cool stuff in there. All
I mean,
the visions.
They don't talk about the afterlife or like the edges of the planet or what happened to those angels that were dicks or why angels aren't supposed
They're
to
gonna-
replicate with humans.
they're gonna
or
get
any
judged.
Of that.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's not in their nature.
I mean,
whatever.
we get details about like how long it's going to be before the Day of Judgment.
we got details on
How
Sheol.
Sheol is divided. That was
Yep.
great today.
We get like a little Sisyphus thing with Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
That was cool.
But I generally enjoyed the Book of the Watchers. Kind of weird in some places, but I
Overall
think
aggressive. I got you, but that's still funny.
So I had fun reading through this.
Yeah, I think this was a good one.
Yeah, but
No.
we're obviously
As a
gonna.
guy who has to pay attention to this all the time, this is considerably more tolerable than trying to slug through the Bible. My goodness, that has been and will continue to be an like a thorn in my side. It's just such a pain sometimes. The lists killed me. I couldn't keep reading.
Yeah,
I would read with you guys, but it's just so
yeah,
shitty.
I know.
It's so shitty. I don't know how else to put it.
But you know what? We said we were gonna do it.
And you're
So
doing
we're
it.
gonna- we
And
gotta do
I'm
it.
glad I can help back here
Yeah.
in some capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, viewers, if you're still watching, we do have that commentary for the next
Yes.
section on our Amazon wish list.
The link is in the description. And so for the next section, the parables or similitudes of Enoch,
Yep.
yeah, there is a lot of stuff in this commentary written by the same guy that wrote the translation. And it's also from Hermenia, and they have some incredible commentaries. Once we get to, I have a Hermenia translation or commentary on Isaiah and on Daniel,
Yeah.
and I've read through a good portion of the Daniel stuff. Really good, just so good. In fact, I was talking to some Jehovah's Witnesses on campus, and I kept referencing
Just ambiently around.
what?
They're just there amongst. the
Yeah, they're
students.
they're around. But we got to talking about Daniel and apocalyptic literature in general, and they, how they have these, those little books that, just give you an outline of their beliefs and
We'd
stuff.
love to do
They're
2-hour
terrible.
streams, but that's not only quite a large toll on us. I mean, if we did longer streams, we could take breaks as well.
No, I would
But-
rather not take breaks.
But
Hey,
it's,
when we start doing the Quran, we
No.
could do.
if this was our job, I assume you could do a 2.5-hour podcast.
I mean, it kind of is.
I mean, if full time, not just school.
Right,
you're
right.
done with everything that you wanted to get done.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I wanna
It's
throw
profitable.
Okay.
Profitable.
Hold off, Chris. Hold off.
for the watchers who are watching now. We are considering either Jubilees or Maccabees next.
Yeah.
Please tell us what we should do.
Yeah, I think both are good choices.
Yeah, but we
could
need
do
to
a
do
vote.
one first.
I know.
Maybe we'll do one of those polls.
Yeah, we can do a poll.
That's
Yeah,
a
we
good
can
idea.
like throw up a straw
Maybe write
poll.
that up or
Yeah, we can
remember
do
that. if you
Yeah.
Yeah.
could.
So, anyways,
Got
right.
one
The
vote.
hold on. The commentary, it's in the wish list. Link in the description. Let's shout out some stuff. Twitter, Facebook, or Teespring. Oh, that's right. Teespring shirts right now. If you use the promo code BEHOLD, all in caps,
20% off.
20% off.
Yep.
Promo code BEHOLD.
And there's also our Patreon.
Yes, our Patreon.
And if you want to be a guest on this show or our Atheist Sunday School, you can donate $50 a month or more.
yeah,
You
doesn't have to be more.
Yeah,
That'd be bad
you
for
know,
you, probably.
but you could.
Yeah.
Like, just saying.
Just saying.
And you could appear once a month on one of our
Yeah,
weekly
whichever.
shows.
And we also, t-shirt giveaways, stuff like that.
$10 a month or up for $10. Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to hear that.
And for $10,000,
Oh my God.
In the
One of
continental
us-
United States minus Alaska.
yep, and Hawaii,
That's not in the
which is not
continental US.
continental,
Yeah, come on.
right? For $10,000, one of us will come out and give you a high five.
High five.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for joining us. It was kind of a slow start on people getting in here earlier on.
No, but
Yeah.
thanks for those who joined
Yeah,
us.
thank you for everyone for joining us.
Watch it.
We have a lot of fun doing this, and we love that you guys keep watching. And you know what I forgot to reference?
What's that?
What did you forget?
That book right there,
This book right
The
here?
Apocalyptic Imagination.
Well, why don't you reference what you were going to before we get off the air?
Yeah.
We got a few minutes, but we haven't even hit an hour mark yet, which
Yeah,
is
I know.
usually our goal now.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Because I actually did have a couple things to say about this. Totally forgot. This is from The Apocalyptic Imagination by J.J. Collins. He's a leading scholar in Jewish apocalypticism. Let's see. The Book of the Watchers in itself gives us little clear indication of its specific setting. It is evidently the works of scribes, but to say that a piece of literature is the work of scribes is almost tautological and tells us nothing of the setting in which these particular scribes worked. There is no evidence that the authors were priests or presented Enoch as a model priest. The authors were familiar with various learned traditions, but this does not require that they were, quote, in the orbit of the Jerusalem temple. Neither is there any indication that the authors were subject to persecution. The stark difference in worldview over against the traditions known from the Hebrew Bible suggests that the tradents of this material were not in the orbit of the Jerusalem temple, but stood apart from other strands of Jewish tradition, whether in Upper Galilee, as Nicholsburg has tentatively suggested, or in the Eastern diaspora. We'll return below to the question of the relation of the Book of the Watchers to the early Enoch tradition. He's going to cover that later. But while its social and political provenance remain obscure, the Book of the Watchers casts considerable light on the literary technique of an apocalypse. Whatever crisis generated this text, it is viewed from a distinctive apocalyptic perspective. The situation is transposed to the mythical time of Enoch by the device of pseudonymity. It is not described directly, but is covered by the allegory of the Watchers. In this way, the outcome of the crisis is already known, and so is guaranteed. At the same time, the human situation is placed in perspective by the otherworldly cannot talk geography, where the places of judgment are already prepared. The Book of the Watchers, then, does not explicitly address any crisis of the Hellenistic age or advocate specific conduct. Rather, it provides a lens through which any crisis can be viewed, by evoking a sense of awe and instilling conviction in its revelation of the transcendent world and the coming judgment. The apocalypse enables the faithful to cope with the crises of the present and so creates the preconditions for righteous action in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
And that's that. That's stuff on the setting.
Great.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the show, everyone. Thank you for sitting through that and sitting through us doing this.
I guess. Well, maybe they're standing.
Or standing.
Or running.
Maybe you're walking
Yeah.
and you have some headphones on and you're
Pretty
listening
rare.
to us,
Yeah.
in which case you're
Thanks.
welcome.
Thanks
Maybe
for
you're
walking
dancing.
with us.
I doubt you're dancing.
Dance.
Dancing.
I wonder if anyone just danced.
I don't think anyone danced. Anyways.
Hey, if anyone danced, let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you danced. Anyways, thank you for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday.